Meliswa took over the farm after the previous owner, Alan Parsons, was beaten and driven away by a gang. Meliswa also took ownership of the buildings, cattle, and other facilities that were not supposed to be part of the redistribution. Parsons, according to several farmers, received no compensation and now lives in Australia. John Warsick was also driven off his farm. He founded the Justice for Agriculture Trust. He says President Robert Mugabe's ZANU-PF party launched the land program for political reasons. Critics say land seizures are largely responsible for the 40% drop in economic production in Zimbabwe over the past decade. They contend that very few of the seized farms are commercially productive. And they say a large number of black farm workers left the farms when ownership was transferred, fueling the country's 90% unemployment rate. Mr. Mugabe and ZANU-PF leaders, whose families own some of the largest farms, blame the economic decline on Western sanctions imposed on Zimbabwe because of human rights violations. The violence linked to them continues. In Chegutu, north of Harare, the farms of Ben and Laura Freeth and her parents were burnt under mysterious circumstances.
It began with the conquest of the land more than 4 centuries ago, and ever since, land and race have been inextricably linked.
We need our land back. That's it. And they are going to grab it by force.
Now, an ANC government is promising it'll give land to landless blacks by taking it from white farmers.
The Constitution, as it stands, does not impede expropriation of land without compensation.
The number of evictions is multiplying. Around 50 families here have received letters from the landowners asking them to leave their property.
I've been working on farms for 51 years, and yet to this day I cannot say to my children, this here is our house. We're going to end up burning down their houses if they don't start listening to us. We don't want to do that, but we have to own something. Up until now, nothing has changed. Still, I really believe each one of us has the right to own something.
In South Africa, where the main opposition party says it could go to court to stop the proposed land reforms by the government. The Democratic Alliance and some rights group are critical of the government's plan, saying it will risk property rights and scare off investors. The parliament voted by an overwhelming majority to adopt a report which recommends that the constitution be amended to pave the way for the expropriation of land without compensation. A total of 201 MPs backed the report, while 91 voted against it.
Firstly, why are you, right up front, not acknowledging that there is not nearly enough viable commercial land to satisfy the expectations that you are creating in the rhetoric that you are employing, not me? Secondly, why are you clever people, highly intelligent people, not addressing the matter of stock and implements? You know very well that the land is useless without stock and implements, and you know full well that farmers will, not spitefully, but they will sell them if their land is expropriated. Lastly, you are clever enough to know that one of the most fundamental aspects of this matter, namely the bank loans, which will not be paid by farmers who are forced off their land, will collapse the economy. You choose to ignore these matters, which are more important than all of the rest of the that you speak in Parliament.
If you've spent any time talking to South Africa's white farming minority, there is one name that will keep coming up: the Sightlanders, the world's largest non-state civil defense organization, who believe not only that civil war is coming to South Africa, but that they need a serious plan and preparations for when it does. After our conversation, Simon introduced me to a local Sightlander who offered to show me their preparations.
Okay, so these are the preparations of the Erasmus family, which includes a hydroponic system to be taken with them in their vehicles in the event of a civil war, a nationwide anarchy crisis.
But Simon assured me that these were only the preparations of one of thousands of others across the country prepping in the same way. In fact, every year the Sightlanders hold a huge evacuation drill where different groups from across South Africa carry out a complex run-through of their plan for when civil war breaks out.
White South Africans are arming themselves to defend their properties in the wake of the land reform advanced by the black majority government of African National Congress, or ANC. This comes amidst a tidal wave of farm murders aimed against white landowners in the Rainbow Nation, and Afrikaners claim the government's inaction on violent crime and the planned expropriations fall in line with the ANC's far-left policies of...
Now, Chairman, let I put it quite frankly. If anybody thinks in South Africa that you can take the land without compensation, you're living in a dream. If you want to start a civil war in South Africa, do that. Do that.